Everyone knows Dave Murray for being the longest-lasting Iron Maiden guitarist, and the only band member who, alongside Steve Harris, appeared on every Iron Maiden album. But the truth is that he is much more than that, and Dave did take part in a gazillion other projects, both before joining Iron Maiden and after that. So today, let's take a look at all of them. Real quick guys, as always, please do not hesitate to comment on anything you hear or see in this video, and especially if you disagree with me, because the whole point of our Up the Irons series is of course to start a conversation. But alright, let's do it. Contrary to his Iron Maiden guitar trio comrades, Dave Murray has actually grown up in relative poverty, and because of that he did move around different areas of London quite oftenly as a kid. And therefore, in those early days, well, in all honesty, music was the least of Dave's worries. And instead, as sad as it is, he was actually prone to bullying and was often involved in brawls, at some point even ending up in a metalhead gang, in which they did fight against skinheads quite oftenly in East London.
It's just outrageous.
But at the age of 15, everything changed. One day, on the radio, Dave Murray has heard Jimi Hendrix's Voodoo Child, and was immediately hooked on that music. And it was after that incident when he suddenly has found himself hanging out at the rock sections of record stores. And it was after that incident, and right there at a record store, when he first met his future lifelong friend, another Iron Maiden guitarist, Adrian Smith. With Smith, Dave formed his first bands, once again at the age of just 15 and 14 years old. And those bands were Stone Free, which in honesty was a rather amateur project, which was rather short-lived. And later on, Evil Ways, which Adrian Smith did rename Urchin after Dave Murray's departure. Well, after his first departure from the band. And by the way, technically, the latter one has actually become Dave's very first professional metal band, although he did only record one song with the boys, and he actually has spent only several months in that project. And by the way, I actually did talk about both of those bands quite extensively in our latest Up the Irons episode on the dark side of Adrian Smith, so I'm not gonna go into the details of the same bands in this one once again, but definitely check those out right after watching this video if you want to find out more about the earliest days of Dave's and Adrian's musical journey. Because even though for Dave Murray those projects were actually rather short-lived, the truth is that it was them which eventually shaped him as a guitarist whom we all know today.
Can't look, just wanna go home.
As I already mentioned, Dave's and Adrian's first project was a rather amateur one, and therefore, while still playing at Stone Free, Dave Murray has actually also actively searched for a proper band. And just like every London kid of that period who wanted to play guitar, he did answer a bunch of ads in the Melody Maker magazine and did audition for bands almost every weekend, eventually ending up in 3 of those. The first and the second ones were Electric Gas, a sort of American-style soft rock band, and Legend, and the other third band has actually vanished without any trace, so I actually don't know its title, honestly.
Shame. Shame.
But in honesty, it doesn't even matter that much, because in all of those, Dave did not actually stay for that long. And his first proper band was in fact called The Secret.
Alright then.
Back in the day, The Secret was a rising punk rock new wave band, which eventually recorded their first self-titled album released in 1979 via A&M Records. But that was after Dave Murray has actually left this band for good. And yet, it was the first band in which Dave Murray has left a first proper trace as a musician. As together with Dave Murray, The Secret recorded 2 singles, The Young Ones and Café de Danse, both of which were released in 1977, so after Dave's departure from the band. Yet nonetheless, these 2 songs were actually the first proper Dave Murray's records, even if one of them was just a demo. Now, as pretty much every Iron Maiden fan knows, that before the release of those singles, Dave Murray has actually auditioned for Iron Maiden for the very first time, and actually has gotten in the band. Yet that stint at Maiden was a rather short-lived one. And just several months after, he was kicked out of the band after an argument with the then vocalist Dennis Wilcock. And it was during that short period in between the different bands when Dave Murray has actually reunited with his lifelong friend Adrian Smith in the band which he helped founded at first, yet which by then had a slightly different name. And that band was of course Urchin, with whom he recorded one single titled She's a Roller, thus making his first proper debut as a half of one of the most well-known twin guitar attacks in the world of metal. And of course, shortly after that, Dennis Wilcock was kicked out of Iron Maiden, and Dave Murray was invited back into the band. And he has remained there since, becoming the longest-lasting Iron Maiden band member after Steve Harris. But okay, just super quick, wanted to point out that I only have a couple of Metal Christmas t-shirts inspired by our favorite bands, including Iron Maiden, of course, left in the stock. So if you would like to support the show and rock one of those, I'll be more than happy to send it pretty much anywhere across the world. And you can actually order it via the link in the description to this video. Back in 1985, after attending a charity event for African famine relief, bassist Jimmy Bain and guitarist Vivian Campbell noticed that hard rock and heavy metal artists were merely represented at charity compilations like that one. You know, like for example, Do You Know It's Christmas or We Are the World. Vivian and Jimmy simply shared this observation with nobody else but Ronnie James Dio, and the three decided to co-write a song called Stars, which was recorded in May of 1985 by the extensive gathering of hard rock and metal stars. And among these stars, of course, were some Iron Maiden representatives. Because I mean, well, you cannot really have an all-star heavy metal supergroup without Iron Maiden, right?
Yes, that's true.
And among the guitarists on that record were nobody else but Adrian Smith and Dave Murray. And the Maiden guitar duo, of course, did exactly what they know how to do best on that song. And just like that, Hear Nate has actually become the very first Dave Murray side project after he joined Iron Maiden for good. The first of just three. And the funniest thing is that the other two also involved some other Iron Maiden members in them. In 1991, Iron Maiden drummer Nick McBrain released an instructional video titled Rhythms of the Beast. There he extensively covered all things related to playing the drums, from tuning, warming up, and choosing the right equipment to micing the kit. And of course, every diehard of Iron Maiden knows that that video also includes a video of Nico McBrain jamming with a jazz band. And yes, Dave Murray, of course, was a part of that band. Yes, Dave, playing jazz. Once again showcasing how versatile of a guitarist he actually is. But in reality, that was not the only time Dave showcased that he can play not just metal after he joined Iron Maiden. As back in 1997, he once again reunited with the prodigal son Adrian Smith, this time making a guest appearance on the second album of Adrian's band Psycho Mattel, which once again has been extensively covered in our Adrian Smith video, so I'm not gonna go into the details of it in this one. But nevertheless, it was then when Psycho Mattel changed their vocalist and the sound to add some metal layers to their neo-prog hard rock sound. And therefore, it only seemed natural for Adrian to invite his lifelong friend Dave Murray to record guitars for the song With You Again, composed, like the vast majority of that album, by Adrian Smith and the band's new vocalist Andy Macon. And that studio album has actually become the last one for Psycho Mattel. And the craziest thing is that that recording from 1997 has actually also become the last side project for Dave Murray outside of Iron Maiden, making it 28 years to this day since Dave Murray has dedicated his musical life entirely to one of the greatest heavy metal bands on the planet. But no, that's it. These are all side projects of Dave Murray's outside of his journey with Iron Maiden. All the side projects of one of the most versatile guitarists in the world of metal, who, instead of going on solo endeavors and instead of exploring the different sides of his musicality, has decided to dedicate his entire life to one band. Actually, if you think about it, even more so than the legendary Steve Harris did. And what do you guys personally think? Which of those is your favorite side project of Dave's? And did I miss any of those? But most importantly, happy birthday, Dave Murray, who today, on the day of release of this video, turns 69 years young.
Congratulations! Oh my god.
But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and we'll prevail. Slava Ukraini!